What's the relationship between social media and PR? I'm Ivana Taylor, the publisher of DIY Marketers and the host of Bizapalooza Chat. And today we're talking about how to use social media as a PR tool. Our guest today is Ansita Satija. She's the host of the popular international Twitter chat, hashtag Social Powwow, which runs Thursdays at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. And when she's not tweet chatting, she's the senior account manager at boutique PR agency Cone and Wolf 6 Degrees. I'm so glad to have Ansita with us today because I've wanted to chat about PR and social media for a really long time. So let's start our conversation by getting everyone on the same page with some definitions. Let's define traditional PR before the age of social media.
Uh, Initially, when PR started and the kind of activities that used to happen before were more restricted to offline mechanism. So like a press conference or a press release or relationship building meetings with the reporters in the media, publishing authored articles. Was something that used to happen, which has completely changed over time. Of course, with the advent of social media and people using a lot of social media channels to communicate, we've seen PR coming a long way, and it's become more integrated. So it's no more just about earned media. It's a culmination of paid, earned, and earned media now. You'll also notice, like, earned media is actually owned media is actually like a virtual home for your PR activities. So blog content or website copy or social media posts are all owned channels for a brand. Paid media has become more about social media advertising or influencer marketing or PPC campaigns. Earned media is the hardest type of PR strategy to execute. But today, there are various ways to channelize your message. It's not just one way communication anymore. Uh, Brands are using various mediums to communicate to their audience.
Now, let's take a look at social media without muddying it up with PR.
So, PR has become, in my opinion, PR has become social over the years. Digital media and technology, has paved way for innovation and creativity in our communications approach. And this evolution has given birth to what we call social PR. And I love this term because, social PR goes just beyond using social media. It's about conversation, engagement, connection, and collaboration with the community that matters to you and your brand. It's just an extension of PR.
What's the best way for brands and small businesses to use social media as a function of PR?
Well, small businesses have a great advantage with social media because it's very easy for them to communicate about themselves without spending too much budget in marketing themselves. Um, Social media can be used in various ways for small businesses. Um, uh, you know, like you can use social listening to understand where your audience is. You can connect with them proactively, listen to what their problems or needs are, and communicate with them because that shows that you know your audience well and you know what they want. And it also builds a deeper connect and relationship uh, with an individual or a brand or whoever your audience may be.
That's fantastic, Ansita. Now maybe you can share some of your thoughts on how a small business can plan out their social media strategy that incorporates PR.
Well, till the time you have your objectives clear in mind, it's easy to develop a communication strategy that would work for PR and social media as well at the same time, because both of these things go hand in hand. It's not anymore about a different strategy for PR or a different strategy for social media, because the message remains the same. What you say is remains constant, but how you say it and where you say it makes the difference. So from a social media perspective, your strategy should be knowing where your audience is and communicating what your end goal or objective is. For PR, you have these set things that you can do from depending on what you want to communicate. You would decide how to go about it. Do you want to do media interviews? Do you want to call a group of reporters and influencers for a press conference offline? Um, or you just want to use social media only to break out the message to your audience. So it really depends what you want to communicate, but that remains the same. Your story remains the same, but how you say it becomes is your choice on depending on what you want to do.
Now I'd love to hear
Now
your
I'd love
advice
to hear your advice
to maybe other PR
to maybe
folks
other PR folks
or the small business
or
owners who
the
hire
small
them.
business owners who hire them.
What is the right way
What
to
is the
use a
right
PR
way to
agency
use
in
a
the age
PR
of social
agency
media?
in the age of social media? Well, when you look at hiring a PR agency, of course, for small businesses, the first thing is to know what kind of budget you're looking at, and then search for agencies that might be able to help you, because uh, big agencies would always charge you more for the same kind of work, and it's a well-known fact, right? But if you're a small business, you might also look at freelance PR professionals, and there are a lot of them out there. And you see the kind of work or the case studies that might be there on their website, and make a decision to approach the agency accordingly.
That's great. So
That's
I
great.
love that
So
tip on
I
using
love that tip on
freelancers.
using freelancers.
I have a lot of friends who are
I have a
freelance
lot of
PR
friends who are
people,
freelance PR people,
but I'm finding that a
but
lot
I'm
of
finding that a lot of
traditional PR people,
traditional PR people,
maybe some of my friends
maybe some of my
who are
friends
come out of the
who are
traditional PR
come out
world,
of the traditional PR world,
they're not as familiar with
they're not as
social media
familiar with
or how to
social media or
integrate
how
those
to
two.
integrate those two.
Have you seen that?
Have you seen that? Yes, that's a challenge that we face in our industry, and especially here in India. I can speak about where I'm from. What I've seen in the industry is that it's really hard to break through to people who have been doing traditional PR for a very long time, because they're used to a certain kind of style to work in the industry, and suddenly there are like so many things happening and technology is changing, and there are various channels and opportunities for them to explore, which I feel people are sort of scared or not ready to put in that extra effort to, learn and understand different tools available to them, which eventually might make their job easier. Um, but it's still a little difficult to break through to the people who have been using traditional mediums for a very long time. because I see it every day, like we have so many tools available for social listening or tools for influencer marketing and engagement. And it's just about learning how to use them to best utilize your time. Um, but somehow, that gap is still there.
As someone who works in a highly successful boutique agency, what do you think are some things that PR folks could do in order to capture the attention of journalists and influencers and publishers beyond just sending press releases?
I think there's a lack of creativity in how PR professionals communicate, because till today we send out press releases to reporters. Um, for example, if it's a phone launch, and there are phone launches every single day in India,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there are various agencies who have multiple phone brands, and just imagine the plight of a journalist getting, say, 20 press releases related to a phone launch. How do you make a difference as a PR professional? Is where the creativity lies. How creative can you be? And it's not necessary to just send a press release. It could be something more creative, like um, um, I mean, it could just be like a social way. It's just like a social press conference, or you don't need to invite media to a place to tell somebody that, hey, this is a new that's being launched. Maybe you can do some crazy video online and shoot it out to the media, instead of like issuing a press release. Just a different or a creative format that you can use to excite people to really write about you or talk about you, instead of being old and just mundane.
I agree with
One
you.
of the really terrific things about social media that everyone talks about is how it's such a powerful tool that allows you to build relationships with journalists and influencers. Maybe you can share some of your thoughts on that.
Yeah, and that's something that we have seen. But like a lot of these journalists are now online, and most of them, what I have seen here is 85% of the media has Twitter presence. So Twitter is like one of the major platforms here in India to connect with the media nowadays. So if there is a small business who is looking to make that relationship or build a connect with a reporter, I think it's just pretty easy to search them on Twitter, and start having a conversation on what they are writing, or just counterbag their thoughts on the tweets that they post. That ways, I think it becomes easier for them to build that connect and relationship. And of course, if you want to talk about your business or brand, or if you want them to write about you, you already do have a relationship with them, and take that step forward. And I'm sure they'll be happy to like talk to small businesses if they're doing something exciting.
I
I'm
love
so
that.
glad that you brought up Twitter. Let's talk a little bit about social powwow. Do you feel that hosting this Twitter chat has made a positive impact on your PR and social media endeavors?
It totally has, because I think I ended up getting a couple of industry awards for my efforts for social power. So that was pretty exciting and motivating for me. And I learned a lot about social PR and how to integrate social media in your PR activities, and I learned a lot about new tools and technologies. And that's how I sort of evolved in the work that I was doing in my company. And I started experimenting a lot more because I learned a lot through the people who used to participate in social powwow. And since it's a global chat, we are not restricted to just one place. So it's it's even more interesting to learn from people from across the globe because everybody has a different perspective, and there's always something new to learn from everyone, and every market works in different ways. So um, even to know about campaigns that I might not hear over here in India, it just opens up my mind to a lot of more creativity and innovation that's happening around the world, which usually you don't really end up seeing online or reading online as such. But that 1 hour that I get to talk to people is something that I really learned a lot from.
Well, maybe you can share some of the more interesting lessons or surprises that have come up for you as a result of your Twitter chat.
Oh, I think there are lots of them. I don't know where to start from really, but there was this one interesting chat that I did on how cartoons can be a very interesting PR tool. And when I did this chat, I actually implemented it at my workplace. And I did a cartoon or comic strip for one of my B2B clients, and it actually turned out to be a great thing because the client loved it, and we even sent that campaign for an award entry, and we won an award for that. So this just came out of nowhere. It was just an idea. I was talking to somebody on social powwow, then I researched a little about how comics can make for a great way to tell a story visually. I just implemented it at my workplace. So yeah, so I think that's one of the most exciting and interesting things that um, you know uh, I still remember.
That's
That's
really great to hear because I'm always such a big advocate of Twitter chats as a resource for small business owners and brands alike to get expert tips and strategies and generate new ideas.
You virtually talk to so many people, and build that relationship over the years. And I had the opportunity to meet Mark Sheffer here in India, and I had spoken to him online for quite a while. Of course, he doesn't do tweet chats as such, but there was an online relationship. We would tweet to each other, and I would really follow him. And then I attended his workshop in India, and he, because I had that sort of relationship with him, um, and I did see him, commenting on social power tweets at times, but not really participating in them. It was great to meet him in real life, and that's the power of social media. That's the power of technology. Like, you're not binded by a particular location or a set of people. So yeah, it's a great way to make friendships and relationships. Yeah.
That's
that's
such a terrific example, Ansita. I remember even when I was in school, one of the primary tenets of traditional PR is relationship building. The most successful PR folks were the folks that had the best relationships with journalists, experts, other companies, and other forms of media. So that's just the perfect example of that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
and
We go,
exactly.
Ansita. Maybe you can share some final thoughts for our audience so that they can begin planning their social media and PR strategy for 2019.
Well, like I said, PR, the fundamentals of PR will remain the same. It's all about communicating and reputation management. Um, in 2019, we'll see more technology, more content, but the aspect of storytelling and authentic storytelling is just going to be there. So businesses or brands or small businesses should really focus on the storytelling, um, uh, and they should own the narrative. Yeah, I mean. Uh, that's what I would say. That PR and social media will be integrated. They should be treated as one, and not taken as two separate channels or two separate activities altogether.
That's
Fantastic
great.
advice. I'm so glad that you shared that with us. I know that it will clear up a lot of
You.
confusion.
Thank you, Anna. I'm glad we got to talk to each other.
Thank you so
Absolutely.
much for being with us today, Ansita. And everyone, please join Ansita every Thursday at 10:30 Eastern Time on Social Powwow. You'll find that on Twitter, where you'll get to chat with her directly and get more great ideas on how to integrate social media and PR.